What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Chase, aka CR Media. We are back for another week, episode 9 of Bad Booking, where we talk the landscape of professional wrestling, go down the list of everything. I am your host, Chase CR Media. Joining me tonight, in place of ABJ and Mark, is Dustin, Mr. Midwest. Dustin, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm good. It's good to be back. It's good to be back.
Yes, yes. Hunter says the dynamic duo.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Little,
sir.
little play on words there. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Um, missed
From the
missed you so
Dynamite
much.
post show to the Bad Booking show. Look at me go.
Yep,
Moving up in the
I
world.
missed you so much on Wednesday nights, man. I had to call you in for Sunday. I've seen a couple
Ratings
comments
dropped,
in
didn't they?
here.
I'm just playing. I'm just playing. It's all love for Raz. Raz does an amazing job on Wednesdays, man. If anybody's going to replace me, I'm glad it was him. Speaking of which, hey, Scott.
Yes, Scott is here tonight. Scott is working, but Scott is here showing support in the chat. We greatly appreciate that. Hunter's giving him high fives and whatnot. Yeah, man. So Mark was out of commission tonight. ABJ was out of commission tonight. Thought it was necessary to have a show because obviously there was a crazy week in professional wrestling. So wanted to jump in and see what we can't do about that. So Dustin, why don't you tell me and everybody else watching, man? What have you been up to since leaving the Dynamite post show, sir?
Work. That is pretty much it. Work. I got the message this morning, or kind of this morning, kind of last night from my good friend Chase here asking, hey, man, you able to do the show tomorrow? And I was like, absolutely. My issue here is, and I didn't tell him this until today, is I'm kind of not been watching wrestling. So I spent almost all day today catching up on wrestling. So I sat in this chair right here with my TV going, just watching wrestling, trying to catch up. Got through some WWE, got through a little bit of AEW. Can only make through so much with the amount of time I had and still being able to see the wife. Because believe it or not, my wife actually likes to be around me, which surprises me sometimes. But yeah, so it's great to be here. It's great to be back on the screen with you. It may not be our regular Wednesdays, but now I can't get yelled at for talking about other wrestling companies.
That's right. So we're gonna start off with the big story of the week. Obviously, for those who joined us last week, we mentioned that Vince McMahon had forced himself back onto the board of directors in WWE. WWE making breaking news again this week because, like I said, last week he forced his way back onto the board with 2 more members. Everybody was very worried that he was going to, change things creatively and do a bunch of other stuff. So much so that his daughter stepped down as from her position, and things can be said. I know she wanted to take time off the last time this happened. It's just very coincidental that it just happens to be all surrounding her father. Anyways, Tuesday, very, very, very troubling news broke. And we talked about this a little bit on the AEW Dynamite post show because we mentioned that we would talk more about it on Bad Booking. But very troubling news broke on Tuesday from a very credible source. I don't remember his exact name. It was McKellen, or he works for DAZN. He's broken a couple of stories himself. He's a very credible source, not just some bum that goes out posting different stuff. And he had posted that the word was that he had it on very good word that WWE was going to sell to Saudi Arabia, which was, like I said, very troubling news for a lot of people. I want to just kind of start this off by saying, um, you know, yes, there's a lot of people in WWE that feel a certain way about the Saudi Arabia thing. Um, you know, Saudi Arabia, nothing against anybody from Saudi Arabia. It just happens to be their government. Their government owns entities, and their government would own the same people who own the people would own the WWE in some way, shape, or form. And there's a lot of controversy surrounding them. The murder of a reporter for reporting the uh, how much of a dictatorship that is. Not reporting stuff that their government feels like they should report. And there was rumors that the Saudi prince had him murdered. The issues with females, the issues with the LGBTQ community.
A
Same
lot of
thing.
controversy.
Yep,
A
a lot of
lot of
controversy.
controversy.
And so the next day, those reports were debunked.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's how those reports were debunked. It was debunked by somebody coming out and saying that WWE has no plans to sell to Saudi Arabia as of now. WWE is still
Essentially fielding offers.
fielding offers, which if you're me, that's a bullshit answer. We're gonna get into this, man, because I want to get your thoughts on it, Dustin. I know like you kind of chatted on it a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
here's my thoughts. Just like I think that somebody internally leaked the money laundering that Vince McMahon was doing for the sex scandals, the $50 million that he was taking out of WWE's funds and paying women off for sexual activities. I think that same person or somebody in that same camp leaked this out that they were working on a deal with Saudi Arabia and wanted to get it out in the media to kind of show the backlash. And I
Mm-hmm.
think when that happened, I think the board and everybody else backed the fuck up and said, no, like this is a bad
Yeah.
idea. Let's think this through.
And another way to say that, because I'm with you on that, is the WWE fans, the WWE universe, may or may not have a friend in that corporate office. And I say that because everything that has come out publicly that has changed a lot of things. If this is the same person, they're doing it in the best interest of the fans and the company in itself. So I think it's safe to say that we as fans of the WWE have a friend in that office. With that being
I
said,
would say,
good.
no, I was going to say, I would say that we had a friend in that office because like I said, I think it is very telling that both times involving Vince McMahon in the past year, his daughter has been the one to resign or walk out
Well,
or leave.
let's be honest here. Even if she's not around, the man she shares a bed with every night still is.
Yep, of course.
So, that being said, if more things come out while Vince is still there of how things are being ran and it's nothing negative and it's nothing positive, it's all the negatives, it is probably safe to say that either Steph herself or somebody that is extremely loyal to the McMahon Hemsley era, to throw back to the 90s with that, is they're doing the right thing. And I say that as a fan, and doing the right thing is in for the company, because we can all sit here and be honest. WWE has been so much more successful under Triple H in the last 6-7 months or however long it's been than it
The
was in the
morale in
last.
the company is up.
Yeah,
The stock was up.
than
Now,
it's been in the
granted,
last
when
probably 4 years under Vince. So it's like you got to look at that. The wrestlers are having a better time. The storylines are better. The fans are enjoying it more. It's the content that they are putting out on a multiple times a week basis is better. And so for me to sit here and say that, I can see it being an option, and yeah, and that could very well be a thing. And because absolutely, Kai, can see that 100%. It's whatever happens is going to happen. There's nothing that I, as a fan, can do about it. There's nothing that Chase can do as a fan. We don't own enough of WWE to do anything. If I had the money, you damn right I would. But
Yep.
that's neither here nor there. So, sorry, I have my Ravens on the screen and they just got a touchdown. I apologize. So
no, you're fine. You're fine.
When you see me kind of look away and stop mid sentence, something just happened. I apologize.
That's all right. They just tied the game up, man.
So look at that. Steven's going to be giving me updates. I love you, Steven. This is why you're my favorite. After Hunter. But anyway, yeah, so it's something that can happen. We don't know. I know that there was another report that came out later on this week. I think it was like Thursday or Friday that this came out of Shaq and Tony Khan entering the bidding war for the WWE. And I don't know if I will say it's a smart business move on Tony Khan's behalf. Because if you think about it, MJF talks about the bidding war of 2024. Well, if there's nobody else to bid, nobody else can take away my stars.
So it's not just that. Like, so and a lot of people have to understand if Tony and Shad Khan make an offer. If they go into business with somebody and make an offer, this is going to strictly be like them as ownership of it.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Khan's not going to walk into WWE backstage and be like, okay, I'm calling the shots now.
No,
exactly. But there's a lot of people, I hate saying this, but there's a lot of dumbass like wrestling fans that go, oh my God, Tony Khan can't buy it. He can barely run AEW. No, it's not Tony Khan. It would be Tony and Shad Khan. Yeah. And it would also be also a business partner with them as well. Yeah. And WWE would run itself the same as it is now.
Yeah, I would imagine that what would happen is Tony and Shad would take a CEO or a chairman of the board position. Probably one of them would take one.
Yep.
And then they're still going to let Triple H run the company because now they're not going to be worried about competing with them. Now they're going to be like, okay, how much fucking money can we make? And on top of that, that also opens up a lot of doors for AEW to improve because now you have some feuds that fans want to see. You can see some things happen. Now we can get the Revival back. Instead of them being FTR, they can once again be the Revival, which if anybody here has listened to Dax's podcast, which I highly recommend, by the way, if you guys haven't listened to it, FTR with Dax.
Fucking good.
It's great. And I love what FTR stands for in there. It's family, tequila, and wrestling. I love it. Dax absolutely, like, it is amazing to hear his mind behind the industry. So if you're not listening to it, I recommend you would. You find it on any platform in which you can normally watch podcasts, listen to podcasts. I found out about it relatively late. Unfortunately, even as a big FTR fan, the fact that I hadn't found out about it sooner, I was surprised. I hadn't spent a lot of time on Twitter lately. Happened on and see Dax post something, hopped in, watched the 3 episodes that I'd missed, and now I'm waiting for the next one to come out. But yeah, absolutely amazing. That being said, there's a lot of things that can happen. People can get names back that are trademarked by WWE if they want them back. Gimmicks that would be available again. And I'm all for essentially anybody but Saudi buying WWE. Now I have preferences on who I would rather it be. Obviously Fox, NBC, those guys I'd be okay with. The Khans I'd actually be okay with. I could very well see. I don't know if they actually are related, but is Nick related to Tony and Shad?
No. Khan is a very, very, very common last name.
Well, I could very much see Nick going into business with Tony and Shad and being like, look, I'll even throw some money in there and we can go. And I could very well see, because I know that Steph, Nick, and Triple H, they all have a very good relationship, especially that has been shown over the last few months. They all work very well together. I could see Steph and Triple H throwing some money in there as well. And yeah, and we could get a pay-per-view of the Battle of the Cons, Nick and Tony, and it would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, Steve and I will get to that when we get to AEW.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm all for the Cons actually buying it, despite what many people think of how the product of WWE would change. I don't think it would change that much. I think that Tony and Triple H, they share a common interest, that being the love of professional wrestling.
Yep.
Triple H is obviously a different feel and mindset about it as somebody who did it versus Tony's, but they have that same love. And I think that right there would be the basis of a beautiful relationship in which things would be absolutely amazing for both WWE and AEW and wrestling as a whole.
I agree.
And I will 100% always support wrestling as a whole over the personal interest of a specific person. Like anything that can make WWE or wrestling in general more successful, more popular, sign me up for it. Tell me where to sign, and I'll do it any day of the week.
Absolutely.
Yes, so I know I just went really long-winded there.
No, you're good. Like that's what I wanted. You know, I mean, I was expecting to talk about this with two other people tonight, but I wanted to get some insight on it just because, you know, I've had my insight and I've had my input so far this week. You know, like I said, we kind of took a little bit on Wednesday night to talk about it, and you know, because obviously it was like the major breaking news and you know, and whatnot. And even when the news broke, like everybody was well. You know, I mean, when the news broke last week that WWE was planning on, you know, facilitating a sale, everybody was like, well, the safe and easy option is NBC, is Comcast. Yeah. So, like, and that's just what everybody assumed. And then like this whole Saudi Arabia thing came out. And like I said, like anybody can try to debunk that as much as they want, but you can't convince me. Yeah, you can't convince me that wasn't the plan.
Yeah, there are other reports that came out that's like Saudi's still putting out money. I believe somebody actually put a figure. I didn't write this down. I don't have a link or anything like that. I can't, so don't quote me on this. But the figure that Saudi had put forth for WWE was like 200 and something billion. I want to say it's like 230. And it's a stupid amount of money for sure. But that's the kind of money that you have when you have literally every penny in that country available to you. Because it wasn't the Saudi prince, it was the public interest fund of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, something like that.
Yeah.
And I was being very hyperbolic when I said every penny of the country, because obviously they're not going to have every single penny of the country, but they have almost an unlimited amount of money because of all the other corporations that pays into that fund. That is just whatever throwaway money.
I will tell you, just because I will tell you, because I don't want you to get any flack for it. 230 billion is absolutely astronomical, and it's completely wrong. WWE paper is only worth 8 billion. So, but I could see them throwing like 9 or 10 billion at WWE to outbid everybody else. But supposedly, like, this is what I've read.
I could be adding a zero to the figure. It could have been like 20. It could have been like 12 million or something like that, or 20 billion or so, or 10. I can't speak English today. Like 12 billion or something like that.
Yeah, 12 billion. Yeah,
I could be adding numbers and mixing numbers up, but for sure.
No, you're good. Like I said, I just, you know, they mentioned that Saudi, or like a company, would probably offer around 5 to 6 billion because of the fact of them wanting to get a sale done so quick.
Yeah.
So
I could see the Cons coming out with probably 7 billion between Tony and Shad, because as we have discussed previously on the Dynamite post show and elsewhere, AEW is ran off of Tony's money. Tony does have a lot of money from having executive positions in his father's companies.
Yeah. But that much money they would need. Yeah, that much money they
and
would
I'm
need
yes,
both of their
their
con
portfolio.
powers combined to create
Yeah,
one super con.
yeah, and then they could even throw in another con that's not related to them, but could be related to them in the business world of NickCon,
Absolutely.
and then they have a super con. They have the super con of
A
it's
mega con.
yeah, a mega con. There you go.
Yeah.
We don't have 6 mini lion bots to create a super lion bot or whatever it was. But yeah, we don't have 6 cons to throw money in. Shaka Khan. There we go. Shaka Khan. That's if Nick, Tony, and Shad go into business together, they will be referred to exclusively as the Shaka Khan.
Yeah.
Per Hunter Dillon 95 here on Twitch, YouTube, and wherever else. I think Chase has something on Facebook as well.
Yeah, I do.
Everywhere, every streaming platform we have them covered, I believe.
I like it.
Yeah, so absolutely. I would be very much okay with Tony and Shad buying, as long as Tony doesn't kind of, oh, I own the company now and step on some toes, because stepping on toes in the WWE is probably not the best business option for Tony Khan, because then those guys can be like, oh, well, that's cool. Fuck you. We're going to go start our own company and watch this company skyrocket because of the names attached to it.
Yeah, I like I said, I couldn't see Tony trying to run a conglomerate as big as WWE.
Yeah. And I do
So,
believe that there would be some people that left WWE and went to AEW to help out AEW. I can see Tony probably taking more of an interest in WWE since that is a bigger company.
oh, bro, could you imagine Forbidden Door 2?
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Could
But
you
like
imagine if the sale went through before
Survivor
WrestleMania?
Series,
Could you? Yeah, if
whew.
the sale went through before WrestleMania, could you imagine WrestleMania?
Unfortunately, I do believe that was when we would end up getting a I just dropped my pen. We would end up getting like a Darby Allin dethroning Roman Reigns.
I wouldn't hate it.
I would.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
My last Dynamite post show, we discussed my feelings on shitty booking like that. And since this is bad booking, I can talk about it being bad booking. But that was last week. This is this week. And we have other things to talk about now. I have a lot of notes that I took because I took a page out of Raz's book. And I actually wrote notes. I didn't write them on paper because my handwriting is terrible
with you.
and I wouldn't be able to write anything.
Listen, buddy, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if you saw the rundown or not, but there might be some things we don't get to. So,
yeah,
I mean, you got your notes, but I mean, all I'm saying is I'm just fucking with you, Dustin. Like, if you want to, like, we're not, So I don't know if you've seen the rundown. This is what we're doing now. I want to get away from doing, hey, let's talk about AEW stuff right now. Let's take a break and let's talk about WWE stuff now. Now I'm doing like breaking news. Then we'll play our game, and then we'll just bring up news topics as I list them or whatever. So if you want to throw something in there, just throw something in there.
There is something that happened with Raw this last week that I wanted to bring up that I found to be very interesting, and how much they harped on it. Is the tag team turmoil thing. I don't know how many people caught it, but they exclusively said the Raw tag team titles probably like 12 times. And I find that to be interesting because it's showing that they're legitimately thinking about splitting up at least the tag titles, which could lead into splitting the world titles. I'm not against it. I'm all for it. Better matches, more opportunity for everybody. Never going to do that. But that was something that I wanted to talk about because of that. And at the end of the tag team turmoil, which I do believe was the main event of Raw, you had the Usos standing there, and the only belt they had held up was the Raw tag titles, and I found it to be very interesting, and I'm here for it.
That's very, very interesting that you noticed that. I did not notice that, so I have to go back and kind of watch that interaction just to kind of see what.
Like I said, I hadn't been watching wrestling, so I watched all of that today. So a lot of what I talked about today, I watched today. So I have and I figured that with the recency of which I watched, I was going to pick up on a lot of things and have a lot of things that you probably was like, oh, I didn't really notice that, or I forgot about that. and I was figuring we'd have at least one other person here. But yeah, we get Usos versus Judgment Day.
Yes. Nice. So just to kind of end off on this Saudi Arabia thing and WWE, if WWE doesn't wind up selling to Saudi Arabia, who is your locked in pick to buy it?
So my locked in pick that if it's not Saudi, it will probably be NBC/Comcast. But like I said, I would like the Cons to buy it because of the potential there.
Yep.
But yeah,
I agree. I'm wholeheartedly in agreement with you. I think I don't think it would be a situation where, like I said, if the Cons bought it, it would be a Khan thing. It wouldn't be just a Tony Khan thing. It would be a Shad Khan, Tony Khan thing.
Nick Khan.
And well,
they would keep Nick Khan around.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they would actually, because I don't know if you know this or not, but Nick Khan was only brought in to facilitate a sale, was to help consolidate assets and facilitate a sale when he was brought in. Jacobite, appreciate you joining us tonight, sir.
WWE theme park. Okay. Yeah. Fair. However, we are going to deter from wrestling at this point in time because there's a thing I would like to say. Everybody give congratulations to the one and only Jacobite Games on welcoming, I do believe, his third child into this world either yesterday or the day before. I don't remember the exact time of the birth, but congratulations to Jackie on his beautiful baby boy. If you do not watch Jacobite, absolutely please go do so. And join his Discord. It is absolutely amazing, wonderful community. But congratulations, Jackie. I wanted to put that out there.
Absolutely, man. I remember. I remember when my third kid was born. A whole whopping 11 years ago. So, yeah, man, that's awesome. That's awesome. So it's game time, sir.
It's game time. What game are we playing today?
So we are doing the fantasy draft like we always do. We're going to do 5 rounds, you and me. And after we're done playing the game, we're going to jump right into Impact Hard to Kill. We're going to talk about that event. We'll talk about it. But during the game, here is the draft tonight. We are drafting our favorite or our best TNA/Impact World Heavyweight Champions. Okay. So,
all right,
Dustin, since you are the newbie tonight, I will let you draw the first pick.
I did a little research after because you told me about this shortly before.
Hey, Ken, appreciate you joining, sir.
Of what we were doing for the draft. So I did a little research. So I'm going to take the longest reigning of consecutive of, including every title defense, the longest reigning TNA champion of all time, Kurt Angle.
It's a great pick. Would I be criticized if I took Jeff Jarrett with my number 1 overall pick?
I mean, you do you. It's your draft.
Well, I'm not going to, so fuck that. Swerve. All right.
Raz says yes, you would.
Yeah. So you picked Kurt Angle.
Absolutely.
So I am going to go with the man. When you think of TNA, when you think of Impact, there's only one name that comes to mind.
I think of 2, but carry on.
Well, I'm sorry, but listen, buddy. 1999, you were an infant when TNA started. So
I was. Actually, depending on the month, I probably wasn't even born yet.
Yeah. Well, TNA started in like 2002. So
yeah.
So yeah, you were born. But the name is the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. So Kurt Angle's a great pick. Kurt Angle's a great pick, but I had to go. I had to go AJ number one, regardless. I thought even if you didn't pick AJ, I was still going to go. I mean, even if you picked Kurt Angle or somebody else, I was still going to go AJ number one.
Yeah. So you said you only think of one. I had the second one that I think of whenever I think of TNA. Give me the Samoan submission machine, Samoa Joe.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. Hey,
And they have to be my 1 and 2 because of the rivalry that those two had. Absolute bangers.
Yes. So you picked Kurt Angle
and Samoa Joe.
And Samoa
Joe. We are picking the best TNA World Champions, TNA/Impact World Champions.
All right, and then I picked AJ Styles, and all right, AJ Styles.
The three biggest ones right off the bat, just bang, bang, boom.
Yeah. I'm going to go with a safe pick here as well, because everybody thought his career was over when WCW folded, and then he went to TNA instead of going to the giant company WWE, because he didn't feel like he would be used very well there, and he was absolutely 1,000% correct. And he continued to have a phenomenal career in there. He's still going now. He's still going today as well. And he's not like the typical old guy still going that steals good spots from young guys. He's having fantastic matches, helping build Darby Allin up. Give me the icon Sting with my number 2.
I can respect that. All right, we're gonna go round 3, and I have a few here that I have written down. And I'm going to go with this. I'm going to go with the man that broke my heart, but I absolutely love him. Unfortunately, I have not seen him on TV in a minute, but I'm going to go with him still nonetheless. Give me the glorious Bobby Roode.
I like that pick. I loved Bobby Roode's singles TNA run. I loved it when they started looking at Bobby Roode as a main event guy. I would have loved
it.
Oh, absolutely. I would have loved to see them take that and push that on the WWE's main roster. But unfortunately,
they did a great job in NXT with it, for sure.
Absolutely.
And they just fell flat on the main roster.
All right. So you took Bobby Roode. All right. God, dude, oh man.
So I don't know if it showed up in our chat. Okay, it did. Alex, I am actually all for it. I talked about that a little bit ago, probably a little bit before you got in. I talked about it, and I'm here for it. But yeah, we will get to that a little later
on. Well, hey, wait a second, Josh. You got to put I-70 hot tag. I-70 hot tag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's not going to plug just you. He has to plug you two as a team.
Well, I got some people in there that have explanation points, but Josh's only like real social media is like his TikTok. So it's like
I'm with you, Josh. I'm with you.
All right, so there's two guys that I want to pick, but you're
probably going to take one, and I'm probably going to take the other at some point in this.
I know, and that's what sucks. So with that being said, I'm gonna not take this guy. I'm not gonna take either one of those guys, and I'm gonna go Josh Alexander, the walking weapon. Josh Alexander has done a fantastic job of proving that Impact Wrestling is still top tier. It's still great. And Josh Alexander has done phenomenal stuff.
I do in fact have John on my list. So absolutely solid pick. I will give you that one. All right. So there's a couple of guys I'm looking at here on my little list. And I have qualms about picking one of them because of the issues he had during that time. But I'm going to have to still go with him because he is a legend in his own right, whether it be in WWE or in TNA. Give me the charismatic enigma, Jeff Hardy. His run with the Immortal title was fucking amazing, solid, despite the fact that he was very much drugged up during his TNA run. I'm not going to hold that too much against him because he was still able to put on quality matches, and it was still very nice to see Jeff get that big star push.
That's a very controversial pick, man. I like it, but I don't know if you remember or not. Jeff was champion when that match with Sting happened. Was TNA champion. So, like I said, it's a very controversial pick, but I like it.
But overall, yeah, I'm not saying that he didn't fuck it up a few times. Overall, solid run. He had a very nice run as TNA champion. So I'm going to give him the nod and take him at 4.
Absolutely. I'm going to have to take him at 4. I mean, you can ignore it. I can dog on him all I want to, but the fact that there would be no TNA without him. Without him and Jerry Jarrett, there would be no TNA. So I'm gonna have to take, reluctantly, Double J, Jeff Jarrett. So
all right. So
final pick.
Here I sit with my last pick, and while I have a lot of guys on my list still, there are 2 that are standing out to me as very much dark horse picks that I don't think a lot of people acknowledge them as much as they should for either one of their reigns, for any title reigns that they had, but both were very dominant and very impressive in their own right. One is currently with the WWE. The other is still with Impact. I'm going to take the guy that's with WWE. Give me what he goes by now, the almighty Bobby Lashley.
It's a dark horse pick. I like it. But you left me with my final pick. Again, just like my number 4 pick, I am reluctant to pick him. He's not a favorite of mine. I did not care for his TNA run, but
I know you're picking.
Yeah. The point is that just like Jeff Jarrett, he is synonymous with TNA, and he built a very, 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 very great singles run in TNA. Regardless, no matter how you feel about the individual, I'm not a big fan of him. I'm not a big fan of him as a singles career, but I got to take him, and that is what Josh said, Bully Ray. So,
can we do a couple of honorable mentions?
Absolutely, we can, because I know you, guys. Dustin messaged me and was like, "Dude, I got a list of like 20," and then Dustin no, hold on. Not only did Dustin message me and say, "Dude, I've got a list of like 20," Dustin also messaged me and said, "Are we just doing TNA World Champions, or are we also doing Tag Champions and Women's Champions? Because I got a whole list of those too." I was like, "Bro, we're just doing World Champions."
Yeah. Well, so the message that he sent me when I asked him what we were doing was TNA Champions. You just said TNA Champions. So I'm thinking X Division. I'm thinking tag. I'm thinking knockouts. I'm thinking knockouts tag. I'm thinking them all. So I'm over here and I'm going through this. And had we done tag, Motor City Machine Guns, give me them every day of the week and twice on Mondays, they would have been my first overall pick. Yeah. Absolutely, without a doubt. I want to do a couple of honorable mentions here.
Go ahead.
I'm going to do 2 real quick. I want EC3 as an honorable mention. He's very entertaining in WWE or in TNA, and that's where he really took his rank. And
agreed,
Alex, we are on the same page. I will give me Austin Aries. Aries had some pretty good runs.
Yep.
He was very entertaining.
That option C cash in. The option C cash in was probably one of the cool, like, when I think of like big suicide. Yep. When I think of big pops in TNA, when I think of big pops in Impact, Austin Aries unmasking himself for option C was a humongous pop. And I didn't think that building could get very loud, and it got pretty loud during that.
And that situation right there is why I'm putting him at, I guess, to be number 7. But yeah,
I would have picked him. I would have picked him as well if he wasn't such a piece of shit. So, yep. So, um,
who you got
another
for dark?
honorable mention.
Yeah, who you got?
Oh, my dark horse, or like my honorable mention, is always going to be Johnny Impact,
I
Johnny
had him.
Nitro,
Johnny
John
Elite.
Morrison, Johnny Elite. John Hennigan is one of the most gifted athletes in the fucking world.
Absolutely.
And I've always been a humongous John Hennigan fan. So no matter what John does, I love it. So I would have to put him in my honorable mentions.
All right. You want to get one more?
Yeah.
Because right now there are 3 people that I have written down that have not been mentioned.
Okay.
I want to see if you'll take one of them.
I just went, so you give me your other one.
I gave you 2, so you go 2.
Oh, you did give me 2. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. TNA champion. You said Bobby Lashley, didn't you?
Yes, I did. He was my number 5. He was my number 5. He was my dark horse.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Jacobite here. I think that's a great pick. Eric Young started out as a little to nobody character in Team Canada. He was kind of like the lackey, and he grew to be something so much bigger. Absolutely, I'll take Eric Young. Absolutely.
Okay, so you did not take one of my 3. I did not have Eric on my list. I'll give off my final 3. And this is another man that I was talking with when I was talking about Lashley. Moose.
Moose is a great pick. Great pick.
I also have on my list Eli Drake, otherwise known as LA Knight in WWE.
Yep.
And then because of what he was doing at the time and how just absolutely dominant he was over the rest of wrestling outside of the WWE, Kenny Omega. Simply because he was the AEW,
bro.
He was the TNA / Impact.
Yep. How the fuck did we miss Christian?
Fuck.
None of us picked Christian Cage. And that's nuts, dude. Because I don't know if you remember or not, but Christian was over like Rover in WWE. And then everybody was like, oh my God, he finally escaped WWE's grasp. And he goes to TNA. He wins the NWA Heavyweight Championship with Tyson Tomko as his manager. Like, how the fuck did we miss Christian?
How did we miss Jay Lethal? This is why we need more people.
Was Jay Lethal Impact champion?
I do believe he was. I do believe. Give me a second. Ron Killings, not Rob.
Well, and I don't know if I would put Ron Killings up that high, just because of his one TNA run. I mean, his one. It wasn't even. It was barely NWA, or I mean, it was barely TNA at the time where he won it.
Let me see. I can go through the entire list of.
Well, let's pause for a second because I'm going to let my dumb dog in. So give me one moment here. We're going to pause for station identification, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, he's gone. My show. All right, we can run through this. This is let me run through the top picks, like the longest reigning, etc.
Get in here.
So at 1 we have Kurt Angle with 6 title reigns for a combined 608 days. And then we have at 2 Bobby Lashley / Lashley with 4 title reigns for 403 days. Yep, he forgot. It is what it is. At 3 we have Austin Aries with 3 title reigns for 373 days. Bobby Roode with 2 title reigns for 367. Sting 4 title reigns, 326. Josh Alexander, your current reigning champion, with 2 title reigns.
You're right, Mick. I do love my dogs.
Then we have Jeff, AJ, Bully Ray, Johnny Impact, Rich Swann, Moose, Samoa Joe, Brian Cage, Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah, that's right.
And not only did she hold the title, she held it for 165 days.
Yeah.
Eli Drake, Eric Young, Magnus, Eddie Edwards, RVD, Kenny Omega, EC3, or as he is on here, Ethan Carter the third. Sorry, Ethan Carter the third. Drew Galloway, also known as Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre, yep.
Sammy Callahan. Christian Cage only held it once for 71 days.
I know, but it was still epic at the time. So
yeah. Matt Hardy held it twice for 69 days. Mr. Anderson, also known as Mr. Kennedy, held it twice as well. Mick Foley actually held the TNA title. Alberto El Patron. We're just going to skip by that. Chris Sabin.
Nice. I forgot. I completely forgot.
Yeah.
When was that? 2012, 2013?
I believe so. James Storm. And then here is the saddest part about this, because this man had so much potential to be a great world champion. He only held it once for 2 days. In TNA, he went by Pentagon Jr. Everybody here knows him as Penta El Cero Miedo.
Yep.
So, yeah. That there have been 32 champions as recognized. Of course, this is Wikipedia, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, of course.
But there have been 32 champions. And yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. Magnus was another name that you mentioned. That's Nick Aldis, Mickey James's husband. And that was he's super fucking talented.
Christopher Daniels and Kazarian were X Division champions when I was going through all of the champions, because Chase refused to specify that it was world champion. There you guys. Rhino was not a TNA champion. Per what I just read through all 32 of them, Rhino was not a world champion in TNA.
Was Rhino an NWA champion?
I do believe so.
Okay. Because you got to remember, you got to take into account the NWA championship prior to them switching to the TNA. When did they switch to the TNA? Was it 2007? I feel like 2008.
Before that, hold on. I mean, I can tell you because the website I was just on had a they also had a table of who held it first. So
absolutely.
On May 13th, 2007 is when and in the notes it says Angle defeated Christian Cage and Sting in a 3-way match to become the inaugural champion after the NWA's exclusive director Robert, I can't pronounce his last name, stripped Cage of the NWA World Heavyweight Championship and ended NWA's business relationship with TNA earlier that day. So Kurt Angle on May 13th, 2007, on a pay-per-view we know as Sacrifice.
Yep.
And took place in Orlando, Florida, won it. He held it for 1 day, then he had to vacate it. He was stripped due to the double fall result of the 3-way match. And then he won it back June 17th, 2007 at Slammiversary in Nashville, Tennessee.
That's some bullshit. They did Christian Cage dirty, my friend.
And then it was Sting, Kurt, Joe, Sting, Mick Foley, Kurt, AJ, RVD, vacated again. He was stripped, vacated due to suffering a storyline injury. Then Jeff won it, defeating Kurt Angle and Mr. Anderson in a 3-way.
Yep.
Mr. Anderson won it. Jeff won it again. Sting, Mr. Anderson, Sting, Kurt, James Storm, Bobby Roode, Austin Aries, Jeff Hardy, Bully Ray, Chris Sabin. He cashed in option C.
Dummy, yeah.
And then Bully Ray again, then AJ Styles, which I do believe is actually AJ. This is AJ's first title reign. Vacated Dixie Carter
just with the TNA title.
Yeah,
he was like the youngest. He was he was one of the youngest, if not the youngest NWA.
Yeah, that was in
champion.
2013. Or no, that's his second title reign. But yeah, Dixie Carter announced via Twitter
Jacobite.
that he was stripped.
Jacobite. Adam Pearce was a fucking badass on the indie scene, and so yes, he. Adam Pearce was a fucking badass, bro. Badass.
Yeah. So AJ was no longer champion because Dixie Carter announced via Twitter that AJ had been stripped of the championship due to a contract dispute. Styles to continue to carry around the championship belt, proclaiming himself to be the champion in storyline. And then Magnus won it. There's a whole long ass fucking note there that I'm not gonna bother to read. And then Eric Young, Lashley, Bobby Roode won it again. Then Lashley again, Kurt Angle, EC3, Matt Hardy vacated due to a legal injunction that filed by EC3 as part of the storyline. EC3.
What's up, Ashfield?
Matt Hardy again, Drew Galloway. Then Lashley, Eddie Edwards, then Lashley again, then Alberto El Patron. And then he was suspended because I do believe that was during the whole thing with Paige in 2017, where he was accused of assault. And I do believe he was proven guilty. I don't know. Then Eli Drake, Austin Aries, Pentagon Jr., Austin Aries, Johnny Impact, Brian Cage, Sami Callihan, Tessa Blanchard, won it at Hard to Kill in 2020. Vacated.
A badass match with Sami Callihan. Badass match.
Yep. Yeah. And then she was essentially stripped of the title due to missing tapings because of COVID. And then she was fired by Impact.
Yeah.
Eddie Edwards, Eric Young, Rich Swann, which another long ass thing. Christian Cage, because after he beat Kenny Omega, they then retired because it was the TNA / Impact World Title for a minute there, which was when Rich Swann won it. Separate, yeah, and then they retired. Cage retired the TNA World Championship, leaving it just the Impact. Josh Alexander, Moose. And then we got to our lovely time on April 23rd, 2022, in which we would have our crown champion of Josh Alexander.
A walking weapon. So former guest of the I-70 Hot Tag, just in case you guys haven't seen that interview. Make sure you go check that out.
Yep. So there's that. We have just went through the entire history of when the TNA title became its own separate thing.
I wasn't gonna stop you. I mean, you were going, and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna let him go." Like he's killing it right now. So
yeah, it's good facting. It's stuff that I didn't know prior to today. So we all learned something today.
So with that being said, I know you didn't watch Hard to Kill, but want to kind of take an opportunity to kind of go over it a little bit. It was a damn good event. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend going and watching it.
I probably will. I don't work tomorrow.
Well, I was going to say if you need somewhere to watch it, I can definitely provide that for you.
Oh, I have my Impact Plus thing.
Okay, cool. But they started off the night with the World Championship match between.
How was that? I feel like that was an amazing match, and I'm sad I missed. I'll have to watch it.
I'm not going to say it was an amazing match. I have no interest, just like I've said about Jeff Jarrett. I have no interest in 2023 seeing Bully Ray fight Josh Alexander for the Impact Championship. But it got a little dark. It got a little. Tommy Dreamer came out. Tommy Dreamer acted like he was going to attack Bully Ray. Tommy Dreamer acted like he was going to turn on Josh Alexander and attack Josh Alexander. He wound up attacking Bully Ray, but it wasn't enough. Bully still wound up spearing him through a table. And then Josh Alexander's wife got in the ring. And that's where it kind of got a little uneasy. It was just an awkward 2 minutes of Bully screaming at her to beg him for mercy and blah blah blah. And it just, like I said, it just got weird. I feel like they could have cut it a little bit short. She wound up low blowing him, and then giving him a sliced bread because she used to be a wrestler, so she gave him a sliced bread, and it kind of fucked her up because there's thumbtacks in the middle of the ring, and when she did the sliced bread, she hit the thumbtacks, not Bully. But
For us wrestling fans who don't know what that is, please explain what a sliced bread is.
Sliced bread. You remember Spike Dudley's finisher?
Vaguely.
What about Brian Kendrick's?
Vaguely.
Okay, that's what a sliced bread is. She grabbed his head and then she runs up the turnbuckle and then turns around into like a cutter or a bulldog.
So basically, the Stratisfaction.
Yeah, but with a cutter, not a DDT.
See? Look at that.
Yeah, there you go.
I thought the Stratisfaction was a bulldog.
Yeah, but this is this is a cutter. She puts his head right there like a cutter, and then leaps up and flies around, and
Okay.
Kind of like Kalisto's finisher, but she doesn't go straight back. She just goes around.
Yep,
that makes sense. So if I have to, I'll pull it up on YouTube and show you.
No, I got what you're saying.
Okay.
It was just, I don't know how many people actually know the term the sliced bread. I mean, I didn't, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like I did. I know what the fuck you're talking about.
Gotcha.
So,
no, you're good. But so, sorry, I'm watching this game. I really,
yeah, I have it up. I keep like looking over.
Really want Baltimore to win.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Yeah. So the Chiefs have won a Super Bowl in my lifetime, which I never ever thought would happen.
Bengals won
the
two,
last time
the Ravens won 2 in mine.
Yeah. So the last time the Chiefs won a Super Bowl before 2019 or 2020 was 1969. I got to see it. Now all I give a fuck about is padding stats. So I don't care how we get there. I just fucking care about getting there. I don't fucking care. I wish Miami would have won, and I wish Baltimore would win. And everybody's like, "Don't you want your team to play the best teams?" No, I don't give a fuck. I want to play teams that don't have their starting quarterback, that are like on the verge of firing their head coach. That's the teams I want to play.
Well, the Ravens are not on the verge of firing Harbaugh.
I was referring about Miami and all this.
I don't see why they would fire
want
him.
Teams that are, huh?
I don't see why they would fire him.
I don't either, but there was reports that supposedly said he was playing for his job in the playoffs. So maybe because he made it into the playoffs, maybe he saved it. I don't know. But the Dolphins are trash. The Dolphins are a trash organization, anyways.
I don't see why, because Tua got hurt, and then like that's something that you can't really game plan for as your starting quarterback that you built the team around getting hurt. Yeah. You can't really game plan for that. But
yeah. But anyway, so that's why
we'll start an NFL talk show here in a little bit.
Yeah, why not?
We'll just do it early Sundays or Saturdays.
I've got the time.
We're Chase and I can sit here and talk football.
Yep. So like I said, we started off with that. Obviously, Josh Alexander won. Like I said, the awkward interaction between Bully and his wife, I feel like could have been cut short. The next match, the Motor City Machine Guns, in a 4-way tag team elimination match for the Impact World Tag Team Championships.
Timeout. Thank you, Jacobite Games, for the sub. 4 months of moistness. Absolutely incredible. Thank you, my friend. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. Sorry, had to do that one.
Go. Yeah, no, you're good, man. Shout them out when you get them, man.
Yeah,
shout them out when you get them. So Motor City Machine Guns took on Heath and Rhino, Bullet Club, which is Ace Austin and Chris Bay, and the major players Brian Myers and Matt Cardona.
Exactly.
Here's the question: do you think he returns to WWE as Zack Ryder, or do you think he returns as Matt Cardona?
Matt Cardona. If he goes back, it's Matt Cardona.
I agree. So Motor City Machine Guns retained. It's a very good match. It was elimination style. It came down to them and Chris Bay and Ace Austin. Really, really was hoping Chris Bay and Ace Austin could pull that out. But I would like for the Motor City Machine Guns to keep the tag team titles at least until the middle of March. Because when they come to St. Louis and face Grindhouse, Davey Vega, and Matt Fitchett, I want them to have the Impact Championships because it'll make that event that much more, and I cannot wait. So,
fun fact: I have the signed approval from the wife to fucking go, and I will be there. And I've told this to Jackie.
Man.
I told this to Jackie, and here's my goal: if I can, I'm gonna try to. I want them to sign his merch, to sign Jacobite's merch, solely because of how big of a fan Jackie is of the Motor City Machine Guns, and I want to get a picture. Dude. I want to get a picture with them of them having signed his merch with the merch, and if they have the Impact Tag titles too, fucking yes.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like it'll make that event so much cooler, dude. Yeah. I'm so fucking hyped that you're going. I am so fucking hyped.
As soon as you told me about that, I was like, I don't give a fuck. If I have to get divorced to go to this fucking show, I'm gonna be there. Like this is like, and I try to like I literally so. While my wife does not like wrestling,
bro, I will send you some Grindhouse matches to show you Davey Vega and Matt Fitchett to know what you're in for and to understand why I'm so excited for this match. It's not just the fact that it's Motor City Machine Guns; it's the Motor City Machine Guns against Grindhouse. Yeah, dude, like I said, I'm gonna send you some shit so you know what you're.
So Kai, this is a 5.5 hour drive for me, but. So like I started explaining to the wife, I was like, hey, look, I really want to go, da 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 da. I start to explain. And when I got to the point where I said the Motor City Machine Guns and they're one of my favorite tag teams, she was like, it's fine, we can go. Because that while my wife may not like wrestling, my wife loves to see me be happy. And meeting one of my favorite tag teams of all time will do that. And I will be the happiest person on this planet meeting them. After I meet them, if I get to meet them, which I imagine it being a small indie show, I'll probably have the opportunity to. After meeting them, I have technically two other people I need to meet, and I don't care if I ever meet another wrestler in my life. I need to meet Dax and Cash. If I can meet them too, I don't care if I never see another wrestler in my life. I will go to my deathbed happy, telling my kids I met Motor City Machine Guns and FTR. If I can do that, I will be fucking over the moon because I love both of these teams, without a doubt, my favorite tag teams of all time.
Hell yeah, dude! Like I said, man, I'm when you told me you were gonna try to go, I was like, dude, that'd be cool. And then like you just now said like, yo, you're going, so that's the. I
still gotta book the tickets, and I'm about to.
Nice. Speaking of Moose, we were talking about Moose earlier. Moose lost to Dre for the Impact Digital Media Championship. I completely understand the Joe Hendry hype. I'm all for it. However, what I am not all for is I would like to see Moose back in the title picture. I understand that maybe some people, are kind of a little sour on the. I understand some people might be a little sour on the Josh Alexander and Moose feud, just because of how long it lasted or whatever. Maybe they're tired of seeing it, but I just need to see Moose in a main event picture and a main event feud. Moose is money to me. So,
side note, I am insanely jealous of Steven right now.
I saw as soon as Steven's comment popped up, you go.
Well, it was that and the 4th and inches.
Hey, so speaking of 4th and inches, let me ask you something.
Okay.
How quick did it take you to hang up your gear yesterday and get here to the chat, or get back to Arkansas?
What do you mean?
That game you played against the Seattle Seahawks.
Are you saying I look like Brock Purdy?
Bro, it's dude, it's fucking uncanny. It's not even a joke. And I can't believe
Um,
I meant to, dude, and then I fucked up really bad because I meant to introduce you tonight as Brock Purdy. I was going to be like, enjoy me tonight, my co-host, Brock Purdy, quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. That motherfucker took his helmet off, and I was like, dude, he kind of looks like Dustin. And then like they did the whole like graphics where they're like talking where they all went to school, and they showed him on screen. I was like, motherfucker, that's Dustin.
I wish I would love to be Mr. Irrelevant, especially right now. On the topic of Brock Purdy, we're gonna segue a little bit here. I want Brock to wear his Mr. Irrelevant jersey if they make it to the Super Bowl. Like, I need to see the intro of him coming out with Mr. Irrelevant 262 on that fucking jersey and him play that game in that jersey. Because if they
That would
win,
be the shit.
We talk about pops in wrestling. Other sports can have pops as well, and that is what that would be. Him holding the Super Bowl trophy with the Mr. Irrelevant jersey on, absolutely the greatest Cinderella story of all. That is something that even WWE couldn't do.
100%.
Do I have my own command in your chat?
You should.
Yeah,
you might not actually. Yeah, no, you might not. That sucks.
Sad.
What the fuck you got to do that? Why did you have to do that, Raz? Why did you have to do that?
Thank you, Raz.
Put me on the spot, Raz.
All right. Anyway, continue on. Let's
yes.
This hard to kill.
Masa Slamovich defeated Deonna Purrazzo, Killer Kelly, and Taylor Wilde. It was a fatal four-way to determine the number one contender for the Impact Knockouts Championship. I'm very glad that Masha won. But I don't know if I'm interested in seeing Masha Slamovich versus Mickie James. So, but Steve Macklin defeated Rich Swann. Steve Macklin was a former member of the Forgotten Sons. I don't know if you remember that stable
Vaguely.
from NXT. It had Wesley Blake, who used to tag team with Buddy Murphy when they were managed by Alexa Bliss. And then it also had, God, who was that big motherfucker's name? Big motherfucker's name from he was in Impact and then he went to WWE or he went to NXT. And then he pretty much got pushed out because he had a bunch of like hateful tweets and stuff. Riker, that's what it was. Eddie Edwards defeated Jonathan Gresham, which I didn't agree with, but I understand that Jonathan Gresham is like 5'2". But Jonathan Gresham is one of the best wrestlers in the world. So kind of hard. Mick, I do not need to interview Josh Alexander. I already interviewed Josh Alexander, which you can find on the I-70 Hot Tag YouTube page, my friend. Definitely go there and check that out. And then the main event. They let this title versus career match main event the show, which I didn't hate. I didn't hate that at all. But I am very intrigued that she won because there was a lot of talk that her and her husband were going to make a run for the E. And I think with that being said, I don't know if Nick Aldis goes to WWE. I could see Nick Aldis coming back to Impact. And
possible.
Coming back as like Nick Aldis, aka Magnus, to kind of get that back over. But Mickie James defeated Jordan Grace in that title versus career match, so the career lives on. Like I said, I knew she wasn't going to retire, but I thought maybe she was leaving Impact, and I guess she's not. So, definitely check that out, Dustin. If you said you have Impact Plus, so you should be able to watch it.
I will 100% do that.
Absolutely. We are going to talk a little bit about AEW Dynamite. I know that you had something to talk about for Dynamite. that's not exactly on the rundown. So I'm going to give you an opportunity here before we talk about this.
Yes. That would be the Dax Harwood saying on his podcast that him and Cash have agreed to take a couple months off. And he also said on that podcast that any decisions made is going to be a decision made by the both of them. So with that being said, is it possible for him to come back to AEW? Yes. Dax also stated that this break could go until the end of their contract. This break could be done by February. So it's, you never know how long this break's going to take. I am always going to be interested in seeing what happens with the future of Dax and Cash. Like I said, based off of things he said on his podcast, that being him being Dax, the fact that he's trying to get the name the Shatter Machine uncopywritten from WWE and going through all that, it makes me lead to believe that he's probably going to come back to AEW. Is where it's sitting right now. So we'll see.
There is a very popular feud on paper that a lot of people want to see. If that happens is one thing. It's a completely other thing is what I mean. So, and obviously that feud is, and it makes sense that they would take some time off because, you take a couple months off, and when the elite are getting on everybody's nerves and they are bugging everybody and everybody gets sick and tired of them and wants to punch them in their flipping faces, who comes in to shut them up but FTR
and CM Punk.
There you go. So, but we'll see if that happens. I mean, it just depends. Obviously like Dax said, there's no telling what their future holds right now. And I like that. It doesn't show. It's really cool to have unknowns in wrestling, right? Then,
Absolutely.
When stuff like that happens. So, God, dude, they are dragging this game out.
They really are. There's 8 seconds left, and I'm like, they have to go 27 yards for a touchdown in 8 seconds.
Yep, it's 4th and 20.
4th and 20.
Gears of Kai says Kenny Omega is but yeah, I can't stand the Young Bucks at all. I love the Young Bucks in ring capabilities, and Kenny Omega is one of the best, if not the best, wrestler in the world right now. But I just don't like them personally.
Speaking of Kenny, there's one small issue I have with Kenny.
What's up?
His Snapdragon suplex.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but whenever he performs that move, even against the Death Triangle, it does not look that clean. It's
supposed to look nasty.
And it just looks like he just falls back with them. And that is my one issue with Kenny Omega.
I agree. So, we kind of talked about that. And, the best, obviously I had on here to talk about the best of 7. I think that kind of takes care of the best of 7. I don't think we need to talk about that. It's over. It's done with. We just talked about what possible plans could be in the future. Yeah. I was rooting for him, but I can't believe they kept it that close without Lamar.
I thought he caught that right there at the very end. There was that tip, and I thought he came down with it.
Yep.
And I seen the ball bounce.
Yep. Alex, I agree. I hope the feud is done from now. FTR, I don't think it's coming back to WWE, Mick, but who knows? Like I said, their contracts are up, so in April, so there's a very big possibility. However, there was something very exciting on AEW, at least I thought, and that was Tony Schiavone standing in the ring getting ready to introduce someone, and he mentions that he hates to introduce this person, which was weird. I immediately thought, oh great, here comes CM Punk, and then we hear Adam Cole's music,
And not only do we get
and
Adam Cole back, we get a babyface Adam Cole. I have
yeah,
that in my notes of babyface, and it verbatim is babyface Adam Cole, baby? Question mark.
that was nuts, dude. That goal line fumble fucked them. God, that goal line fumble fucked them.
Yeah.
But that dude, you're right, dude. Number 3 almost caught that in the middle in the end zone
Yeah.
after that pile. Anyways, but yeah, Adam Cole returns. He Tony swerves us with making us think that he's going to call somebody else out, and then Adam Cole swerves us because Adam Cole, after he gets done cutting this humongous babyface promo, then goes, now for the bad news, and then he goes, for the
Bad news
rest of
isn't for
everybody.
me.
Yeah,
It's for the boys
everybody
in the
else.
back because Adam Cole is back.
Yes.
Alex, I don't think we're gonna get Undisputed Era versus the Elite due to issues with Bobby Fish, and Kyle O'Reilly is still being injured, and his medical clearance is unknown at this point in time.
Yep.
But mostly because
there's a high possibility that
he's done.
that Kyle O'Reilly might not wrestle again. So
Yes.
um,
Adam Cole said this in his promo, and I echo the sentiments for Kyle O'Reilly as well. He said that people were tweeting out, I don't care if Adam Cole never wrestles again. I just want him to be okay. And I echo that sentiment for Kyle O'Reilly of, I don't care if he ever wrestles again. Would I love him to? Absolutely. But I just want him to be okay as a human.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day,
there's
we
life
talk
after
about
wrestling.
this a lot. Yes. We talk about this a lot. And, we criticize things. We criticize wrestlers. But at the end of the day, they're still human, and they're still putting their lives and bodies on the line to entertain us. And it's situations like this that I think it's important for us to talk about how we should be thankful for these wrestlers instead of focusing on them ever coming back to the ring. We should be thankful that they're willing to do this, and whether or not they ever can again, we just should want them to be okay as humans.
Absolutely.
What person would you want to put Adam against? To start off, you got to be careful with who you put him with because of how recent he is back. You got to be careful. You got to pick somebody who's in ring safe to work with. I do believe down the line we're going to get Adam Cole and MJF, and that will be a great feud. But to start him off, you got to put him with somebody safe. Who you want that to be is who you want that to be. I could see it being Danielson. I could see them having something good after the MJF feud. But you just got to be careful about who you put him with, because you can't put him up against a guy that could hurt him and do a move in which that can make him suffer long term.
Yep. Yeah, definitely don't want to put him in the ring with Kenny Omega.
And as much as I love Wardlow, when Wardlow's good, Wardlow, because of, Adam had a concussion. And what's Wardlow's finisher? The power bomb. That's going to
Now, so here's the other thing. So I don't want anybody to take what I just said the wrong way. Adam Cole is Kenny Omega, like I said, is one of, if not the best wrestler in the world. Yeah. If you that's why I said arguably. I'll respect somebody else's opinion on that, but
yes,
yeah, absolutely. But you watch his match with Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom. It's nasty, dude. It's fucking disgusting, bro. Like they beat the dog shit out of each other. And somebody coming off of a thing like Adam Cole, you don't want to put him in the ring with a guy that's gonna knock the complete shit out of him. You want somebody, like you said, that's gonna work a little bit safer. I wouldn't hate him in MJF.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah,
you could put him with Kenny, yes, but due to Kenny's Snapdragon, he has a lot of moves that targets the head, V trigger, and to an extent the one wing.
That's what I mean.
Well. It's you gotta be careful about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like I said, some of those stiff shots that Kenny gives, that could be super detrimental to somebody like Adam Cole.
Yes.
But when he's ready, I would love to see it because of the we never got the not a payoff, but
No,
they
it was a payoff.
hinted, they hinted at it for a while. So, yeah.
So here's the thing: is I think Will Ospreay, Will versus Adam Cole would be a great match. I think Will Ospreay does have enough moves in his arsenal, to pull off a safe match with Adam Cole. Because I watched the match back at Wrestle Kingdom, if you watched him do the Hidden Blade, he very clearly went over Kenny's head.
Yeah.
So I think Will can perform the move in such a way that he can finish off Adam Cole if they want Will to go over, without it being super harmful. Obviously, they're gonna talk about his concussion during his first match back. They're gonna bring up, and somebody's gonna it's gonna kind of seem like they're targeting his head, but they're gonna do it safely.
Yeah.
But
I brought Gears of Kai. I brought Gears of Kai coming up here just because I wanted to highlight it. He said I'd put him against literally any submission guy to lessen head slams.
Danielson, yeah. And then
Danielson,
like Danielson,
Yuta,
Garcia,
yep.
Jericho. He has his code breaker and his Judas effect, but I'm pretty sure he can take those bumps without too much issue. While we're on the topic of AEW, there's one thing I want to talk about. And I'll take the criticism for this. I was scrolling through wrestling podcasts this week while I was at work. Just trying to find something to listen to while I was working. And I stumbled across a Jim Cornette podcast. And I was like,
oh, Jesus. Fucking Christ.
Let me listen to this and see what this man has to say. Because I don't listen to a lot of what Jim Cornette has to say. So I was like, let me check this out. And I'll say this. Jim Cornette said one thing that I will have to agree with, and it was about this women's tag match. He said something along the lines of what I'm about to say. Who in this situation is the heel and who is the babyface? Because if you look at Tony and Saraya, it did not seem like they were the babyface. You look at Britt and Jamie, and they were over like Rover with that crowd. The crowd literally chanting, "Let's go, Jamie," or Jamie Hayter, one of the two, at the very beginning of the match. So I'm confused as to who's supposed to, because it's obviously like a longer storyline that they're running. So we need to very clearly establish who is the heel, who is the babyface. And they both had very heelish antics during the match. Saraya flipping the bird to the team, obviously the finish with the kendo stick. It seems like the crowd is much more behind Britt and Jamie than they are Tony and Saraya.
So here's what I'll comment on that to rebuttal what Jim Cornette said. In WWE, especially like 5-6 years ago, WWE had crowds that they couldn't win over. Okay. One of those was Philadelphia. Every time they went to Philadelphia was like, fuck you. We're not going to do what you ask us. We're not going to cheer for these guys. We're not going to boo for these guys. Chicago and Philadelphia are the reasons why WWE had to start piping in crowd noise, because they would go and Philadelphia would just like completely do the exact opposite. The exact opposite. Yeah. I kind of feel like LA was the same way, because LA, Rancho Cucamonga, was, they were super over on the Bucks.
Well, the Bucks are kind of the faces in the situation due to the previous finishes of that.
But if you listen to the crowds, the crowds have kind of been 50-50 on the Bucks. Yeah. On the Elite and stuff. So they were super over on the Elite. And then, like you said, all these other towns all these other places that they've gone that have been extremely over on Saraya. And then they go in there and Saraya. Now, I will agree there was some heel tactics done there. But I think Saraya's trying to I think the story is that she's trying to fight fire with Britt. Here's the other thing. So many people, it was a big discussion in AEW land that so many people in the wrestling community were fucking livid because um because Sasha or Mercedes wasn't Soraya's partner, and Soraya picked Tony.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of people upset about that. I'm not going to look too much into that. I know Cornette did, obviously, but like I said, sometimes,
He did not mention that in the podcast that I listened to.
yeah.
He did not mention her.
What
being
is up,
possible.
ABJ?
What's up, ABJ? He did not mention. He did. He said that people thought it was going to be Sasha Banks or Mercedes Monet or whatever the fuck she's going by. Was pretty much his exact words. But I will say, I know Jim Cornette gets a lot of hate, but he said a lot of things that I actually agree with.
He's got an extremely great mind of the business. He knows a lot about it. He just,
he's an asshole.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of his personality, but what he had to say was very nice. And I like that. Another thing, she does after the kendo stick spot, she does, in my opinion, this was what it was. Her very fake shock face that she did. Like, yes. Oh no,
but I think that was on purpose.
Oh, 100%. I just want to touch on that. Then I want to talk about real quick the kickoff to this week's Dynamite. I know that I didn't watch it live, and you guys told me I should go back and watch it. I did. I want to talk about the kickoff to this show, Hangman and Mox. Very solid match, in my opinion. And I do believe that they did a great job of the storytelling in this match, outside of the regular physicality that you get out of a Moxley match. Mox would do something to Hangman that was a very vicious shot to the head, like a lariat, something like that. And you can kind of see Hangman like looking in the corner, just kind of like, fuck, like it wrung his shit. And I think they did a great job of storytelling that there are maybe some lingering effects to his concussion. Of yes, he's cleared to compete, but how close to 100% is Hangman?
Exactly.
And I thought that was beautifully done. And this match, we have previously talked about my feelings on Hangman Adam Page. I'm not a huge fan of him. This match was like, there is something with Hangman. And because he could, I've never denied that he can work. And absolutely amazing. They did a great job with the storytelling there. The last thing that I'll talk about before I let you take the reins here is I'm not a fan of it. Jungle Hook.
Yeah, I'm not a fan either.
I don't like the name. I don't like the team of them being together. And yeah,
I don't mind them being together. Here's what irritates me. So I'm all for, like I don't get bent out of shape when a big guy gets beat by a small guy. I don't. It's like I said, it's wrestling. You don't need to put that much thought into it.
Right.
But at the same time, there are some things that, like, the average underdog story. Like I'm cool with that. Right. But then there's some things that I can be like, okay, this is I'm going to pick out. This is a pet peeve of mine. Hook clearing the ring. Don't get me wrong. I get that he's super badass. I get that he's like, just like his dad and blah blah blah. He's a suplex machine. I get it.
Yeah.
But dude, like, when there's 4 people in the ring and you get in the ring and they're all like, yo, we don't want none, homie. And they back out.
And one of them's fucking W. Morrissey.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say that they did something good in that match. I like
good, because I'm going to give you something bad that they did in that match.
Yeah, I'm all for, and we might contradict here. I am all for the smaller guy not backing down from the bigger guy. So the little standoff.
What is up, Dean?
So the little standoff between him and Big Bill, I'm cool with that actually, because it shows that yes, Hook is very much aware that. What's up, Axel? Anyway, I muted my mic for to do that one. Anyway, yeah. So I like that. Hook obviously being very much aware that Morrissey's bigger than him, but not backing down nonetheless. Like it was very much the I don't give a fuck how big you are type scenario. I'm not gonna step down.
Yeah,
and I like that. I'm okay with that.
Absolutely.
Hook managing the suplex and the look of shock on Morrissey's face. Not that the suplex hurt him, but the look of shock that he was able to actually pull it off. Again, I'm okay with that. I think that in those two situations, they did very good, and then they did well with
I agree.
Morrissey not taking the pin.
Yep, agreed.
So those are the few things. Those are the few things that I like about the match. Overall, not huge in the match. It was like a 4 out of 10. But yeah.
So Gears of Kai, and we were doing a watch along of AEW in the Discord, and it was funny because it was funny because we were, like I said, we were watching it in the Discord, and both Gears and me thought the same thing. There was a point in the match where Jungle Boy got hit like really hard, got like suplexed or backdropped or something, and it was a pretty detrimental move. And they went for the pin, and fucking Hook was in the ring. They had just got done doing something together, and Hook was in the ring, watched Jungle Boy get pinned, and then walked to the corner. And I was like, bro, are you going to fucking break up this pin? And he's just like, no. I mean, Jungle Boy kicked out, but it was just a pet peeve of mine. Yeah. And when Gears brought it up, I was like, I don't want to be nitpicky either, but you stopping that pin was kind of annoying.
There are certain parts that, yeah. Alex's question of match you would want to see if AEW does another Forbidden Door. What do you got?
I want to do the original one. I want them to run back Brian and Zack Sabre Jr. So here's a good guy to ask that question to.
ABJ. Slim Jim. What is going on, everybody?
All right, if they run another Forbidden Door, what's a match you want to see? I'm assuming he's referring to a New Japan. Oh, he just said Josh Alexander and Mox.
Ishimori versus Pac.
I kind of want to get the match that I want a rematch of last year's actually, but kind of. I want if he's still with New Japan. I want Switchblade and Adam Cole. I think that just those two, without the added element of Hangman, would be a great match.
I can dig it.
He's referring to referring to a New Japan and Impact. So with both of them. In that case, give me FTR versus Most City Machine Guns.
Give me Chris Bay and Ace Austin versus the Young Bucks.
Give me Chris Bay and Ace Austin versus the Golden Lovers.
Look at that. We all pull out tag team matches. Tag team wrestling. I love tag team wrestling. It's just, I don't know what it is about tag team wrestling, but it's just amazing. I love tag team wrestling.
Gears of Kai has a good one. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Kip Sabian.
Dude, I could dig it. Zack Sabre Jr. did not do it for me at that last pay-per-view at all.
Darby versus Trey Miguel. Champ versus Champ. Trey Miguel would eat that dude alive.
Darby versus nobody would be great.
I absolutely, Anthony. Absolutely, I'm with you.
Yeah. All right, so Jay White leaving New Japan Pro Wrestling. Where is he going?
Is that official?
All but.
Did he have that match at Hikuleo yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
But they're saying that he's taking time off after that match with Hikuleo. So
Interesting.
Um,
I mean, I would love to see him in the E. I'm to be honest. If
yeah,
the E can get their shit together with their sale.
either the E or AEW, because I think he could have great matches in AEW. He kind of already was in AEW a little bit, but I think that he could do great
I think
things
he gets
in AEW.
underutilized in AEW.
That is very possible. But the E, I 100% see something great coming out of the E. I don't see him being a world champion because you know how the E is with their world champions. But a solid Intercontinental,
I can see them
US
bringing him in and immediately getting the AJ Styles treatment.
that's a possibility.
He skips NXT, he goes main roster, and you find a way to get him and Seth Rollins in a program.
Oh, well, that's how they would kick him off. That's because Seth is one of the gateways to get into the main roster. You have to go through Seth when you come into the company. They did it with Cody, yeah, absolutely. Seth is one of the gateway doors to prove how good you are. Because he is that damn good.
I would prefer AEW, but I like the idea of him and Seth working together in WWE and some of the other matches he could do in WWE. I don't think he gets the AJ Styles treatment. I don't know if I think it's going to be a little bit before people start getting the AJ Styles treatment again. And that's a different conversation for a different time, because the question is where do you go after Roman Reigns?
Cody.
Where do you go after that?
Wherever you want.
Yeah,
is
you
it?
open up?
Do you really go wherever you want?
Yeah,
I think Cody's good enough as a promo that he can make stories together.
After you have a guy who held the title for 2.5 years, you really are just gonna drop it and have people have normal title
I don't think
runs
he drops.
again
I don't think he drops both titles.
I think so. I think that if they do something, it's it'll be Cody, and I think they'll split the titles. They're already doing it with more likely they're already doing it with the tag titles. And I see them splitting the world titles in some way, shape, or form, either by Mania or shortly after Mania. I see Cody being the WWE champion, and after that, I mean, you can keep with the Roman being the Universal champion. They can keep running that because obviously it's making money.
Yeah,
they're gonna milk that. They're gonna milk that fucking thing till it's dead. But
exactly.
I think with Cody being WWE champion, there's a lot of different routes you can go. You could go if they felt it, they could go Austin Theory because Austin's kind of came up a little bit in this little storyline that he's running with Seth. I'm liking Austin more now than I was prior. You could go back to Bobby Lashley because it looks like they're doing the whole Hurt Business thing.
Bobby Lashley is a dud. Unless he's with the Hurt Business, that guy is a dud.
Yeah. You can go Seth Rollins. That will never not be decent, at least, or pretty good in my opinion. I am big on Seth Rollins. I do enjoy Seth Rollins. I think he does great in-ring work and great promo work.
If you're a pro wrestling fan and don't like Seth Rollins, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
So
I found it hard to dislike Seth Rollins when he made those asinine comments to Will Ospreay.
Now, if we're going to talk Forbidden Doors, Seth Rollins and Will Ospreay. If we ever got a Forbidden Door, that is the one I want.
See, I'd be more excited about Seth and Switchblade than him and Ospreay.
I mean, either one. Be banger.
Yeah.
You're
tomato.
Yeah,
tomato.
I think Switchblade has a better character.
Oh,
I think Switchblade's character work is a perfect fit for the E.
So yeah. Mark, who's not here tonight. God, I'm gonna feel terrible if never mind. Mark, who's not here tonight, had a bunch of WWE topics. But instead of going down all these WWE topics, what I want to do is I want to talk about, with a sale imminent, what do we think of the current state of WWE? Chelsea Green going back to WWE. Bloodline, the Bloodline and KO story, the Hurt Business reuniting, Dominic Mysterio's character, Theory going after John Cena, and what with all that going on in WWE and a sale being imminent, what do we think of the current state?
I'll give that to ABJ first.
Seth and David Fit real quick. Gears of Kai. Seth and David Finlay would be nasty as fuck, dude. Nasty as fuck.
It's hard to speculate, right? Because it's everything's looking like Vince is going to shoehorn his way back in and take full control again. And if that is the case, I mean, we're kind of fucked. Sorry, I shouldn't be cursing. We're kind of messed up. It's kind of we're kind of screwed. YouTube algorithms are changing, so I have to be careful how much I curse now. So that's always scary. I'm hoping Comcast buys it. My fantasy booking is now that the cons are throwing their name in the hat and they're saying, hey, we want to possibly be names that want to do this. If I'm Comcast, I go, we'll go halfies with you, AEW, and you can stay where you are on your TV deal. But as soon as your contract's up, we have a lot of networks we'll put you on. And I promise you, we won't give you guys bumps every time there's a basketball game or a hockey game. We'll treat you seriously because we actually like pro wrestling on our network. We have a streaming service because we know you're trying to get that off the ground. You can put your stuff on Peacock. And also you'll have the $9.99 where more people are going to see your pay-per-views. We are a match made in heaven. And if you go halfies with us, you can keep your entity, your AEW. This is WWE. But every now and then you can kind of switch people around and go play around. But that opportunity of working together in collaboration is always there. But you don't have to make one giant company. You can keep AEW and their brand name and everything you work for, and you can have WWE over here. And eventually it's one giant corporation. And they already showed that if that's the case, then Impact's door is always open, MLW's door is open, NWA's door is open, and Japan's door is open. So now you literally have the two biggest companies in America merged together and also willing to work with other companies. That's a giant win-win. That's what I would do if I was Comcast. I would reach out. If the cons are trying to put their name out there and saying we can go halfies with somebody, I would, if I was Comcast, I'd make that bite.
And if I'm the cons, I would absolutely take that deal in a heartbeat. In less than a heartbeat, it'd be like a quarter of a heartbeat, and then I'd have it.
What are you chomping on over there, ABJ?
Gas station chicken sandwich. It's so good.
Oh, okay.
Bro, gas station food can be very underrated if you get it if it's done right.
Bro, if you are in the pro wrestling business, man, you find a way to make gas station food taste like it's gourmet. Because sometimes at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, that's all you got.
Dustin, bro, you can't be from the Midwest and not fucking love Casey's Pizza.
I've never had Casey's Pizza. Is that like?
It's great.
It is. It's phenomenal.
Alex, if I was at a place and there was a Sheetz on one side and a Wawa on the other, I'm going to Wawa. But I wouldn't hate either one. Sheetz is growing on me. We had to do Sheetz a couple times recently, and it wasn't as bad as I initially anticipated. But Wawa is definitely better when it comes to like getting burgers and stuff.
Yeah.
Also, everybody said hi in the chat. Hello. Sorry, I ignored you guys. I didn't want to come in and just steamroll the conversation. I was letting them finish their thoughts. But what's up, everybody? Sorry I was late. We had a benefit tonight for a friend of ours who got injured during a wrestling match, and we raised a pretty penny for like $250, $300. So, and a whole bunch of we came out and supported. A whole bunch of bands were there playing. It was a really, really good night. So it was supporting an independent wrestler who got hurt, and so yeah, it's fun.
Absolutely.
So
I got fans in the chat. Look at them.
I know, man. I love it, dude. ABJ's a baby. ABJ's a baby face again. I love it, dude. I didn't like the heel ABJ.
I'm not a heel to everybody. Just who deserves it.
So, what topic are we on now?
Let's move on.
You're gonna open a door.
I think we've segued to WWE at this point.
We did, but I mean, that kind of wraps it up. I mean, because I know you took a lot of notes, Dustin, and I appreciate that. Did you have anything that you wanted to throw out there?
So there's
Chase Raz wants you to know he's here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So there's one thing that I kind of wanted to hit on. I have another thing that we'll get to when we do our bad booking of the week. But Liv Morgan's new gimmick. I have a couple questions. What the fuck is it, and why are they doing it?
I think she's supposed to be like borderline crazy, right?
She's just a bootleg Alexa Bliss, like she's always been. Shut up.
Damn.
All right, yeah. I will leave it at that. I have a couple other things.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah.
When
Also-
people say when I shit on stuff, I'm not shitting on it to shit on it. It makes sense.
I have one more question of why did they have the Usos interfere in the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens match and not have Sami either beat Kevin Owens clean or Kevin Owens beat Sami clean?
Because
it's showing that-
Sammy's about to turn on the bloodline. Or when the bloodline turns on Sami, Sammy's going to go back to Kevin.
I feel like KO beating Sami could have done that better.
But Sammy, it shows that Sammy was about to beat a guy that took Roman to the limit. That would have put Sammy on a different level if he would have beaten Kevin Owens clean, and he was about to do it. So the Usos jumping in doesn't let Sammy get that vote of confidence, and they were going to jump him anyway, so they can wear him down before Rumble.
Yep.
Those are just a couple of questions I had that I really wanted to hit on here. And when it's explained like that, I can tag along with that. But at the time of watching it, when I was watching it, I was like, that kind of irritates me. I feel like that should have been a clean match. But when explained,
yeah. So what?
Yeah.
What you're seeing right now with Sammy is they have spent so long downplaying Sammy and making Sammy look less than, and so now Sammy's going to start building up victories or come close to building up victories. Because, like you said, that if Sammy would have pinned Kevin clean, that would have been humongous. But because the Usos did it, or the Usos took that away from him, now you're like, okay, because here's what's going to happen if you continue to downplay Sammy. When the bloodline eventually turns on Sammy, it's just going to be Kevin Owens and some doof named Sami Zayn facing against the Usos, and nobody's going to believe that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are going to beat the best tag team in WWE, possibly the best tag team in wrestling right now, for the longest reign that they've had, because of like what I said, because you made Sami Zayn look like a doof. But now they're starting to build Sammy back up and make Sammy look like a top guy. And so when the bloodline does turn on Sammy and Sammy goes with Kevin, it's not Kevin Owens and his dumb little brother or his dumb little friend. It's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, like going after the Usos.
And essentially, they had Sammy pin Kevin Owens clean on television without having Sami Zayn pin Kevin Owens clean on television. Everything that match was about to end was about to see Kevin with his shoulders. Kevin was beat. Kevin was done. He was
about to hit the haluva kick.
He was going to hit that haluva kick, and that match was over. And they took that from Sammy.
Agreed. Maybe Jay, do you have anything you wanted to touch on from this past week?
Sorry. I didn't watch nearly as much wrestling this week as I did before, and I'll get into that in my plugs of why I didn't.
Okay,
that's like a plug thing. But I watched Raw, I watched SmackDown, I watched Dynamite. I didn't watch Rampage yet, but I seen highlights of that with the one match that everyone's going to talk about. I didn't get a chance to watch NWA. I didn't see the Impact pay-per-view, so I'm a little behind. That's pretty much going to be my day tomorrow, is catching up on stuff.
I want to hit NXT real quick. I just scrolled down through. Y'all can jump me if I'm wrong here, but is it safe for me to say that Braun Breaker is probably the best out of the Steiner family that we have seen in WWE?
I know you're. How old are you, Dustin?
Little premature.
Wow.
But
I think he's showing that he's.
I like the optimism.
I
Like
think
the
he's showing he's
optimism.
a good singles star. But my God, dude, you're talking about the Steiner brothers tag team growing up. Man, they were.
Well, I'm referring to them exclusively as single stars.
Oh, as singles, yeah, he's the best singles out of this. Rick Steiner's singles was for me not really impressive. Scott's was not impressive, but them as a tag team, oh my goodness.
Scott's was all right.
Scott had
Scott's
the
was all
greatest promo in wrestling history.
Let's relax. The math one, it was funny, but it's not the greatest of history.
Yeah. When he first debuted in WWE, I really thought they were going to do more with him, and then.
So did
but
you guys
at the time, Hunter was playing massive. Hunter had a golden shovel at the time, so Hunter was burying everybody.
So did you guys catch NXT?
I watched a little bit of it.
Yes.
The Rumble, right? They had a Rumble for the number one contender.
It was a battle royal.
Battle royal. Yeah, I watched NXT. I'm gonna like. So I'm gonna sound really stupid by saying like that I really really like it, but not like it's hard for me to remember what stood out just because of the week I had. But Tiffany Stratton is back, which is exciting because I think she's gonna be a megastar. With the Creed brothers, I think they're gonna be megastars. There's a lot of potential in that NXT right now that I think people would be silly if they keep sleeping on it. What's his name from the UK? He's a megastar.
Tyler Bate.
No.
No?
Dragunov?
Is it Tyler Bate? What's his name
The dude
now?
they did a vignette for? The little thing of
he was
Big
the guy
who wrestled the
talking
Creed
about-
brother one-on-one a couple weeks ago in the opening show.
Oh,
Are you talking about the guy that used to be in Mustache Mountain?
No.
could have been. It could have been Dragunov.
No, it wasn't Dragunov. It's a dude. He reminds you of like a new Adam Cole. He's really, really good. Heel.
I can't
don't
think.
know. I can't.
Yeah.
Jinder Mahal coming to NXT. I think it's fucking awesome. I
Yep.
think it's perfect for him in NXT. I think it's a good spot for him. I'm a Jinder fan. I don't care what anybody says. They can say JD McDonough. Thank you, McDonough. Yeah.
Oh, McDonough. My God.
JD's
Absolutely
amazing.
love JD.
Jinder Mahal in NXT is going to be a great addition.
Yes.
That's like Finn's cousin or something.
Yeah, he's really good. He reminds me. He's like if you're missing Adam Cole on TV, just watch some JD matches because he's right there.
Yeah. You mentioned the Creed
NXT's
brothers.
dope, man.
So you mentioned the Creed brothers, and I want to hit on this because I had this thought watching NXT. Julius Creed and Braun Breaker, if they did a program together, I think it could be really good because they do have a very similar style of wrestling, but they're both
The Creed brothers are a modern day Steiner brothers.
Yes, and I would love to see one of the Creed brothers run a program with Braun Breaker. Also, speaking of Braun, there's a spot in the NXT title match that kind of came all full circle. Waller drove Braun into the turnbuckle. The second rope turnbuckle broke. They threw it back together, and then the match ended with Waller walking the second rope, the rope breaking, him tumbling out of the ring and not being able to get back in for the 10 count, which then led to them having a rematch at Vengeance Day in a steel cage match.
Now, did you catch the history lesson? There was 2 history lessons there at NXT. So they had a Rockers tribute joke when they play the Rockers music, and the second rope snapping, and Shawn saying, "I've have experience with this." Do you know what he means by that?
I do not.
So Shawn Michaels, when he was with the Rockers, they would have been World Tag Team Champions. They beat the Hart Foundation, Jim and Brett, but during the match, the top rope broke, and they couldn't air the match on TV. Brett was still trying to do business and put a hold in and just said, "Fix the rope, I'll keep a hold in." They refused to fix the rope. They finished the match on 2 ropes. The Rockers won the match and were the world tag team champions, but they said they couldn't air the match, so that the victory never counted in the books, and they never became tag team champions there.
I did not know that. So
Absolutely.
thank you for the history lesson.
Damon Kemp is who I'm real big on. That's Gable Stevenson's brother.
Okay.
And he used to be he used to be with the Creed brothers. He turned on the Creed brothers.
Oh yeah, he's good too.
Yeah, he was with Diamond Mind.
And that dude, sleeper, because he doesn't look like he's that good in the ring, and then he starts working because his look doesn't look like a professional wrestler. bro, the dude from the university or whatever they're called, Chase U or whatever, the
Yeah.
dude who runs that, him and Gulak had a banger.
Yep.
And the girl who's part of that is a megastar. She
Yep.
literally
The
can be like,
19-year-old.
is she 19? She literally is everything about the Iconics I loved in one human. She's very funny. Her facial expressions are good. She's super charismatic. She's funny. She's going to be really, really good.
Yeah, because at the start of this, because I believe this was New Year's Evil is what they called this episode. There was a Chase U thing, and she was talking about her being in the Battle Royal.
Yo, low key,
And
NXT's got a
NXT
banger
is
roster.
really good,
and their
really
women's
good.
division is good.
Especially since they've mixed some of that NXT UK roster with NXT 2.0. Dude,
And I like
a
how they're
lot of the
taking guys like Apollo Crews and Jinder Mahal from the main roster in the New Day, and they're bringing them down to help elevate this talent.
But the thing is this is the same talent that 6 months ago people didn't like the color scheme, didn't like the changes, didn't like the booking, but the roster is still the same. And now people are really starting to put respect on that roster's name.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that fans just enjoyed NXT Black and Gold so much that they hated that they went in and gutted it. I've always been a fan of the talent that was on NXT 2.0. It was like I said, it was a sour taste in my mouth because it was like, yo, like we still should be having Kyle O'Reilly, Adam Cole, and all those guys here. Tommaso Ciampa, all those guys. Like what is going on?
It goes to show that how much the fans really take presentation.
Yep.
How big presentation actually is for wrestling fans because of that. Like, the roster's the same. It's all, there's not a huge difference between NXT 2.0 and what they're doing now. But now NXT is like, they're like, oh no, this is good again. It's not drastically different. It's just the presentation's different.
Well, there has been some fine tuning, and I think the fine tuning is what changed it for NXT. Was not the color scheme, but when Sean and Hunter took over, we saw Apollo Crews come back down to help put over Braun Breaker, Ziggler. We also saw
Chase. Give me a second. I want to thank Bubba Smith 13 for rating me. I appreciate this so much. And what is up, 5-0 Justin? Sorry about that. I had to hop in there. Welcome in. This is our bad booking show. We have my friend Chase, and I think we're friends. ABJ,
we're
Anthony
friends.
Blackwell Jr.
I'll let you tell people we're friends. So
okay, yeah, we're friends. Absolutely, both these guys, great dudes. Love both of them. But yeah, thank you all for coming in. Welcome in.
Absolutely. But yes, like I said, just the fine tune things that they did. Bringing in some of the talent from the main roster to help, put some of those guys over. Also, it got a little less, goofy, and they started focusing a little bit more on the talent in the ring. I loved it. So, and I'm continuing to think that NXT 2.0 is on the upward. It would be interesting to see if they start bringing in some of that talent from before in there.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy Callahan is rumored to be leaving Impact. Does Sammy Callahan go back? Does he focus on his promotion in the Indies, or does he come back as Solomon Crow at NXT 2.0? Not that we need another cult leader, dark character in NXT. But it still
he doesn't
would be
need to
very
play a
interesting.
guy. Just make him a badass.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
make him a badass deal.
So, I like I said, I am a big fan of NXT 2.0. I know Damon Kemp has been clamoring for when Gable Stevenson does come that they tag team. I would love to see them tag team, and then eventually sometime down the road turn on each other and get a one-on-one program with Damon Kemp and Gable Stevenson. So, but
Sorry.
All right, gentlemen. Dustin, did you have anything else in your endless notes?
Not for this. Not that's important burning for us to talk about at this point in time until we get to our bad booking of the week.
All right. Well, that's what I'm going to segue into, guys. ABJ, I'm going to let you start off because I'm sure you've got one.
Everybody wants me to pick, I guess, one match. I can't give it the bad book in the week, so I haven't physically watched it yet. From what I've seen, I wasn't a fan of the way it was done, only because I felt like it was really reckless and it could have got a lot of people hurt because they did stuff in that match that's clearly not in their wheelhouse. And one person bladed it really deep and almost fucked herself up, and the other person powerbombed somebody on their neck on the fucking concrete. And I love everybody in that match. I think they're all extremely talented. But I can't give that the bad booking only because I physically didn't watch the match, and it'd be unfair to do so.
That's good. I don't think any of us watched it. So
yeah,
I don't even know
it's
what you're
tough.
talking about,
I can't really. Oh, never mind. The Bray Wyatt promo. Sorry.
Okay.
If you listen to that and it made sense to you, you're making it up. You're just grasping at straws.
Chase, what do you got?
go ahead, Dustin.
No, Chase, you. Because
And that bad
no.
booking is sponsored by Mountain Dew Pitch Black.
Pitch Black. Go ahead, Dustin.
No,
Go ahead.
Chase, all you. I insist.
No, go ahead.
All right. My bad booking of the week is actually Dominic Mysterio's performance in the Tag Team Turmoil match. So I say that because of if you listen to Corey Graves on commentary, I understand that this is more of a comedy angle, but I feel like they kind of set up to do something that could have been good for Dominic.
Oh, I thought. Oh wait, you had.
Yeah. So what I wish would have happened in this situation was they had Priest when they did the whole thing with Finn Balor, and Finn couldn't continue, medically disqualified. Dom has to come in. All of that. Priest should have started off because it was very clear that Priest was not happy about Dom being in the match. And then eventually forced to have to tag Dom in. Dom could have came into that match and looked like a little, this is not good for me, and then just been nasty and vicious as fuck, and it would have been great. I think it would have been good for Dom, for him just to do some vicious ass shit that would have been great because of the fact that Corey Graves was sitting on commentary talking about how big and bad and rough and tough he is. I get, again, like I said, it's supposed to be a comedy angle of he only spent like less than a day. He's not that, but they had the opportunity there to actually be like, to take Dom to that next level. So because of their lack of capitalization on that at this point in time, I have to go with that's my bad booking of the week.
I'm going to change mine real quick to the security team during the Charlotte Flair and Sonya Deville bit. Because Sonya Deville is clearly the aggressor, and they just forget she's part of the fight every time. And then Ronda's like, I'm leaving now. And then she gets attacked from behind by Sonya, and the security's like, get Ronda! Terrible security. They need to fire those guys and bring new ones in.
Ronda or Charlotte?
Charlotte, sorry.
You're good.
They just kept going after Charlotte, and she was the one being attacked, clearly being attacked.
My bad booking of the week is AEW as a whole.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, other than Adam Cole returning on Dynamite was lackluster. And there was a lot of dumbass decisions in and the only thing I really liked on Dynamite was the ladder match and the Adam Cole return.
You didn't like Danielson's match? You didn't like Cole?
I like Danielson's match. I did like Danielson's. I like Danielson's match. Hangman and Mox. I thought was it was all right. I would have started the night with the best of 7 ladder match, and I would have ended with Mox and Hangman. The Saraya match, the tag match was shit. The hook.
It's actually called Jungle. It's Jungle
Hook.
Right.
Hook these nuts. Okay, I'll call it what I want. That match was dog shit.
It was fucking terrible.
There was, and Gears Sakai mentioned it. Like I said, the main issue with AEW in general is it's usually good matches with poor booking and story decisions, and that's exactly. I watched
Yeah.
Dynamite, and I actually went back and rewatched Dynamite because sometimes when I'm watching Dynamite, all I'm doing is taking notes and finding talking points for the post show. That I wanted to go back and watch it and kind of enjoy it. And then like when I watched the second time, I was like, the show kind of sucks.
I actually thought it was better than the week prior show, and it was better than the week prior to that show.
Yeah.
It wasn't their best show.
No, absolutely not. But I mean, like, just like I said, between like kind of what he said, like the booking decisions and the story stuff, I'm just like, like this kind of sucks. Like I said, the Danielson match, good. The Hangman Mox match, good. I enjoyed the spot fest at the end, but as far as the booking and the stories, it's just like this is not doing it for me. And it sucks because I really like AEW and I want to enjoy the show and I try to enjoy the show, but like I said, other than those three big, those three good matches. And I'm not necessarily going to call the ladder match a good match. I'm going to say it was a fun match. That's what I would say about the ladder match. It was a fun match. But then Danielson's match was good. And then the Mox and Hangman match was good. But I mean, like I said, the stories and stuff, I'm kind of like I'm like squirming around, going, "What are you doing? What is going on?"
We never decided. I just realized this. We never decided who won our draft. By the way,
we'll let the chat. We'll let the chat. We'll let the chat decide, or we can let ABJ. We can let ABJ.
We'll let him decide since he was not here for it.
ABJ can be the silent judge.
Okay. What was the draft topic and what was your draft?
TNA.
Yeah, go ahead.
TNA Impact Champions. Dustin's was Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, Jeff Hardy, Bobby Lashley.
Okay.
Mine was AJ Styles, Sting, Josh Alexander, Jeff Jarrett, Bully Ray.
Dustin's your winner.
Okay. Only because I picked Bully Ray.
No, I just think I the only one on his list, if I had to like look through who I think is like a weaker pick, I would like Lashley just because I'm not really high on Lashley. And who was the other one? Like the closer to the bottom. Oh,
Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy. When I think his impact run, I think him being fucking drunk.
AJ Styles. So you'll take Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode over AJ Styles.
I think Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle are there. I think that's a high pick. AJ's good, but then I think after AJ, you don't have that Samoa Joe secondary factor.
Yeah. All right.
So it was kind of funny because when we did the pick, he was like, when he was talking about his first pick, because you know how Chase does whenever he announces a pick, he has to give like a 20-minute explanation prior to taking the pick.
Fuck you.
And he was like, "Oh well, when you think of TNA,
trying to pick the winner."
Yeah. You when you think of TNA, you think of this one person. I think of two people when I think of TNA. Right. He obviously AJ Styles, but my second one is Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm taking AJ. And I was like, that motherfucker, he took who was going to be my number 2. I figured he's going to take him anyways.
But Kurt reinvented himself at Impact.
Yes.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Then I took Joe. So it was like, because like my first 3, because I made my little list. My first 3 was Kurt, AJ, and Joe. First 3 off the board, off rip. And I was like, yeah, that's about what I expected. I figured if I took AJ, he was going to take Kurt or Joe. If I took Joe, he's going to take Kurt or AJ. Like, there was kind of no winning in betwixt the 3. The best I could do was 2 out of 3, and I think I did great with that.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Samoa Joe's ranked 6 on this list.
I think that's
Bobby Roode is 1. Bobby Roode, AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, Bobby Lashley, EC3, Samoa Joe, Sting, Austin Aries, Jeff Hardy, Magnus.
Yeah. Can you believe that Austin Aries is on that list?
I mean, he did have a lot of good moments in Impact. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah, I know. We
this list has Eddie Edwards 10. Magnus, that's another good pick. I mean, Nick Aldis.
Yep.
Jeff Hardy again in the top 10. Maybe I'm just underestimating. I mean, they gave him a fancy belt. Who knows?
Well, I think with Jeff's thing, the title reign itself wasn't terrible. it was because of his out of ring antics, and obviously they did leak into the ring with that match with Sting. But
This has Bobby Roode at number 1 again too. What culture? Oh, Bobby Roode over AJ.
well, I got Bobby Roode, so look at me.
Yeah,
go.
so you're Bobby Roode in the 3rd or 4th round for you is a steal.
Yeah, and I was kind of surprised because after we went Kurt, AJ, Joe, who did you take in your 2nd round? Chase.
I took Sting.
Stick. I figured Bobby Roode was going to go in like the first 3 rounds. And then I didn't take him round 3. I took Jeff, banking on Chase not taking him. And after he fell to 4, I was like, look, I got to grab him before Chase comes to his fucking senses and grabs him.
That's the steal.
Yeah, I absolutely stole him.
I think the reason why Rude is so high up there is because Rude's slow build from Team Canada to Beer Money and then to TNA World Champion.
Yeah,
that's why I think he's up there.
And I think it's the fact
we
that
also
he took the belt off of James Storm.
We
So
also
the man he
forgot
turned on,
about
he took the belt off of him.
We also forgot about Christian Cage, and then we were like, well, Christian only had the title for like 7 months.
No, it was like 71 days.
Oh, 71 days, yeah. So
I would take Tessa Blanchard over Christian. It was talked about more.
Really?
Yeah, Christian winning the title was not a big deal because he only won it once, technically.
Yeah. It was a big deal at the time.
Yeah,
because a lot of people were over on Christian, and then didn't think that he was ever going to get an opportunity to win the big one when he was in WWE. Finally, when he decided to leave WWE and take a chance, he goes to Impact, and then
Christian's
TNA.
Christian's Impact title reign didn't come until he beat Kenny Omega. When he
won the
NWA
title,
but it was not the TNA title, and we were doing TNA.
No. I was doing NWA/TNA/Impact.
I mean, you didn't say that. You said TNA/Impact. You did not include NWA in the conversation.
Pretty sure I did.
You did not. I can pull up the messages right now and read.
Whatever. The fucking shut up, Dustin. The NWA title was a part of TNA, so shut the fuck up.
Barely. Well, when he messaged me originally, he just said champions. He didn't specify world champion. So I'm over here going through the X division, the tag. I'm collecting a fuck ton of names, and then he's like, "Oh no, we're just doing world." And I was like, "Okay, I could shrink this list down quite a bit."
All right, gentlemen, let's go ahead and close out here for the night. ABJ, why don't you go ahead and tell us where we can find you on social media, my friend.
Oh, you can find me anywhere you find ABJ, Anthony Blackwell Jr. on all social media, or A Blackwell. And I got a little bit of an announcement / plug to do. I'm pulling the trigger, fellas. I'm entering the watch along game. So starting Monday night at 7:00 Eastern time, ABJ will go live and he will do the entire episode of Raw with a watch along. I don't have any co-hosts. I don't have anything planned. It's just going to be me talking to the chat. Going to try to do things a little differently, try to do them my way, try to figure out how I'm going to go about doing it and be entertaining. So if you guys want to come hang out for my very first ever watch along, I'll be live at 7:00. And then I'm going to be doing it again on Tuesday with NXT, doing it again on Wednesday with Dynamite. Take Thursday off because we're going to be doing content with myself and Brian. And then I will be back on Friday. This will not be something that I will promise that I will be as consistent as others. There may be a night where I say, you know what, I'm going to enjoy my Monday. I'm going to enjoy my Tuesday. And I just don't do it. But I'm going to try my best to keep pushing with the watch along content. I'm also looking to still cover Impact as well as GCW, as well as all these other promotions, but they may not be when they're live, but I will say, hey, I'm going live Saturday morning at 11:00 Eastern, and I'm going to have it on and I'm going to watch it. So if anybody wants to join, you can come and watch along.
Here's the fun thing is after it airs, it's not live anymore. you can show it on. I don't know YouTube stuff. I know Twitch is, but for Twitch, you can show it on Twitch live.
Yeah,
So
I'm
like,
not going to risk anything. YouTube's being weird right
yeah,
now.
I don't, like I said, I don't know YouTube stuff, so you'd have to look through their terms and conditions and shit to see what they say.
Yeah.
But for Twitch specifically, I know for a fact that after it airs live the next day, you can show it. So like I could go, like if I went live tomorrow, let's say I went live on my stuff tomorrow, which here's where I go, here's where I jump in. Mr. Midwest 99, Twitch, TikTok, Twitter, and kind of YouTube. Still not really doing anything on YouTube, but I'm there, just not really doing anything on YouTube. I might in the future. But yeah, so like if I went live tomorrow, I could show Raw, SmackDown, NXT, I could show Hard to Kill, I could show whatever I wanted to because it's already aired live, so I'm allowed to show it.
Yeah. So that I'm going to be adding more content to the stream. I just did an unboxing video for All Elite Crate, and looking to, as soon as I get intro music, I'll be doing the other stuff as well, like the movie, comic books, TV, video game, all that stuff, reviews, as well as horror movie reviews with the wife. So a lot of cool stuff coming to the channel. So I was at 450 and then someone unsubscribed, so I'm at 459. So that's all I got. Chase.
I'm muted. Sorry. So, Chase, CR Media 1988 on all forms of social media, guys. Monday nights, Josh and I will be continuing doing the pit stop, brought to you by the I-70 Hot Tag, where we're going to do watch alongs. The point of the pit stop that we're changing, we were using the pit stop for interviews because we had so many interviews. Now we're going to dial it back. We're going to just do the interviews on Thursday. But then on Monday, we're going to do a little bit of breakdowns and talking, but we're going to be doing watch alongs of matches of the people that we're going to be interviewing on Thursday to kind of get you familiar with it, get us familiar with them, a little more familiar with them, whatever the case is. So this Monday, Superstar Steve, who was in the original CSW Deal with the Steel, we are going to watch that match from 16 years ago with Derek Stone and Michael Strider before we have Superstar Steve on Thursday. So it's going to be lots of fun. Definitely join us. Like I said, we'll be doing it live. And then Wednesday nights, the AW Dynamite post show, guys. 15 minutes after Dynamite, we go live. The cool thing about this show that's going to be different from everybody else's show that does post shows or whatever that I've always done is I give the link out to you, the viewers, to let you guys come on and talk about the show, what you liked, what you didn't like. I think it's worked out pretty well for us because I fucking love nuts, Billy. I fucking love nuts. Anyways, I think the idea has worked out pretty well because it landed me two phenomenal co-hosts in ABJ and Dustin. Had we not done the AEW Dynamite post show and inviting viewers on, obviously that wouldn't have happened. Thursday nights, the I-70 Hot Tag. We talk about Kansas and Missouri independent professional wrestling, and we also interview independent wrestlers on that show as well. So definitely check that out. And then on that's all I got. That's all I got. So definitely gonna be there's a lot of great stuff coming to CR Media in the next couple months, guys. It's gonna be lots of fun. So with that being said, exclamation point Discord in the Twitch chat if you are there. If you need the Discord link, message me. I will gladly give it to you. We are on our way to 50 members, trying to get there. So any help you guys can provide there would be fantastic. Also, exclamation point CR Media in the chat. Hit that link tree. Make sure you go follow and hit the notification bell so you never ever miss anything from CR Media. Other than that, gentlemen, that is all I have tonight.
All right,
Dustin,
I got nothing.
You kinda-
I
okay.
already plugged mine real quick.
All right.
So yeah.
Well, gentlemen, we appreciate you guys joining with us tonight. Appreciate you hanging out, talking wrestling with us, and talking bad booking. Like I said, come hang out with me tomorrow night, or go hang out with ABJ as he does a live watch along. whichever your cup of tea is, if you will. And then be back here next Sunday for Bad Booking. Other than that, have a good night, guys.